You are bleeding power every day, every conversation, every time you laugh too hard at something that wasn't funny, every time you apologize for existing, every time you explain yourself to people who don't deserve an explanation. You are hemorrhaging respect. And the worst part, you don't even see it happening. You think you're being polite, you think you're being agreeable, you think you're being a good person, but what you're actually doing is training people to disrespect you. Niccolo Machiavelli understood something most men will never grasp. He said, "It is better to be feared than loved if you cannot be both." But here's what he really meant. It's not about being cruel. It's about being perceived as unshakable. Because respect, real respect, doesn't come from what you say. It comes from what you refuse to tolerate. And right now, you're tolerating everything. Problem amplification. Let me show you what I mean. You're in a group conversation. You start talking. Someone interrupts you. What do? You stop. You smile. You let them finish. You wait for your turn again. But your turn never comes because you just taught everyone in that room that your voice doesn't matter. You send a text. You wait. 3 hours pass. They respond. You respond in 30 seconds. What did you just communicate? That your time is worthless, that you were waiting, that you are available, that you are beneath them. You have an opinion, a strong one, but someone challenges it. Their tone is aggressive, so you backpedal, you soften your stance. You say, I guess I could be wrong. You just surrendered, not because you were wrong, but because you couldn't handle the tension. And now they know. You can be moved, you can be shaken, you can be controlled. This is your life, a series of microscopic surrenders, and each one teaches people exactly how to treat you. Machiavellian perception. Machiavelli wrote The Prince in 1513, over 500 years ago. But the psychology he described? It hasn't changed. Because human nature doesn't change. People don't respect you for who you are. They respect you for who they perceive you to be. And perception is built through one thing: behavior under pressure. When someone tests you, and they will test you, your reaction determines everything. Do you hold your ground, or do you fold? Do you maintain your frame, or do you adopt theirs? Do you stay calm, or do you become emotional? This is the game, and you've been losing, not because you're weak, but because you didn't know you were playing. Machiavelli understood that power is theater, that authority is performance, that respect is projected, not earned through kindness. You can be the kindest man in the world, but if you cannot hold your ground, if you cannot control your reactions, if you cannot make people feel the weight of your presence, you will be invisible. Emotional independence introduced. Here's the shift. The one thing that changes everything: emotional independence. Not aggression, not cruelty, not trying to dominate every conversation. Emotional independence means this: your internal state is untouchable. Someone is angry at you, you remain calm. Someone is trying to provoke you, you remain unmoved. Someone wants you to react, you refuse. Not because you're scared, but because you are sovereign. Most men are puppets. Pull the right string, they dance. Say the right thing, they explode. Ignore them, they chase. Approve of them, they relax. They are controlled by external validation, and that makes them powerless. But the man who is emotionally independent, he is the center, the unmoved point in a chaotic room. And that creates presence, that creates weight, that creates respect. You stop needing their approval, and suddenly they need yours. You stop reacting to their tests, and suddenly they stop testing you. You stop chasing their validation, and suddenly they start chasing yours. This is the reversal, and it starts with one decision: to stop moving when they push. Part 2, the mechanism, social tests. Understand this. Every single day, people are testing you, not consciously. Most of them don't even realize they're doing it, but it's happening. They test you with interruptions. They test you with lateness. They test you with disrespect disguised as jokes. They test you with demands disguised as requests. They test you with silence. They test you with aggression. And every time you fail a test, you drop in their eyes. A coworker speaks over you in a meeting. Test. A friend cancels plans last minute. Again. Test. Someone makes a sarcastic comment about you in front of others. Test. Your boss adds more work without asking if you have capacity. Test. And every time you smile through it, every time you let it slide, every time you make an excuse for them, you are programming them, you are teaching them, you can do this to me. I will accept it. I am not a priority. But here's the power move. Strategic silence. Silence is violence to people who need your reaction. When someone disrespects you, they expect a response. They expect you to laugh it off, or get defensive, or argue back. But what if you do none of that? What if you just stop, look at them, Say nothing and let the weight of that silence sit in the air. That pause, that refusal to react, that absence of the expected response, it creates discomfort. And in that discomfort, they realize, I went too far. You didn't have to say it. You didn't have to explain. Your silence communicated everything. This is Machiavellian power. Not loud, not aggressive, but present, undeniable, unmoved. Pause. Someone interrupts you. You stop talking. You look at them. You wait. They finish. Silence. 3 seconds. 5 seconds. Then you continue exactly where you left off, as if they don't exist. What just happened? You didn't fight. You didn't complain. But you just told everyone in that room, I will not be moved. And they felt it. And they... Retraining people. Here's the truth they don't tell you. You have trained people to treat you badly. You did it unconsciously, but you did it. Every time you responded instantly to texts, every time you said yes when you meant no, every time you laughed at disrespect, every time you tolerated lateness, flakiness, dismissiveness, you taught them. And now they think that's who you are, the guy who's always available, the guy who doesn't set boundaries, the guy who can be moved, but you can retrain them. It starts with one moment, one conversation, one boundary. They text you at 11 p.m. asking for a favor. Old you responds immediately. New you reads it in the morning, responds at 9 a.m. They interrupt you again. Old you stops talking, lets them finish. New you keeps talking, doesn't acknowledge the interruption. They make a disrespectful joke. Old you laughs. New you doesn't react, holds eye contact, moves on. The first time you do this, they'll be confused. Why isn't he reacting the way he always does? The second time, they'll test harder. They'll push more. They'll try to get the old you back. This is called resistance, and this is where most men fail. Resistance phase. When you start changing how you show up, people will resist. Not because they hate you, but because you're disrupting their system. You were predictable, you were controllable, you were easy, and now you're not. So they'll push back. They'll say things like, why are you being weird? You've changed. You used to be cool. Why are you so serious now? This is the test, the real one. Do you fold? Do you apologize? Do you go back to being the old version of yourself, or do you hold? If you hold, if you stay unmoved, if you refuse to explain yourself, something shifts. They stop testing. They start adjusting. They begin treating you differently, not because you asked them to, but because you required it with your behavior. Scarcity and value psychology. Machiavelli understood scarcity. He wrote, men are so simple and so ready to obey present necessities that he who deceives will always find someone willing to be deceived. Translation, people value what is scarce, and they dismiss what is abundant. Your attention is abundant. You give it to everyone. You respond immediately. You make yourself available. You show up every time. Result, your attention is worthless. But the moment you pull back, the moment you become selective, the moment you create scarcity, your value skyrockets. You stop being the first one to text. You stop being available every weekend. You stop giving your opinion unless asked. You stop chasing conversations. And people notice. Where did he go? Why isn't he responding? Did I do something wrong? Now you're in their head. Not because you played games, but because you stopped playing. You became scarce. And scarcity creates value. The shift in power. This is when everything changes. The dynamic flips. You were chasing. Now they're checking in. You were explaining. Now they're asking. You were seeking approval. Now they're seeking yours. And it didn't require aggression. It didn't require being rude. It required one thing, emotional independence. You stopped needing them to validate you, and that made you untouchable. Because here's the secret. Power doesn't come from being the loudest. It comes from being the most grounded. The person who is least affected is the person who holds the most power. And once you become that person, once you become the unmoved center, people feel it, they respect it, they fear disrupting it. And that, my friend, is presence. Becoming untouchable. Let me paint you a picture. You walk into a room, you don't announce yourself, you don't try to be noticed, but everyone notices, not because of what you said, but because of what you didn't need to say. You sit down, you're not looking around for validation, you're not checking who's watching, you're not performing, you're just there. Solid, grounded, unmoved. Someone tries to provoke you. A comment, a jab, a joke at your expense. You hear it, you process it, and you let it dissolve in the air. No reaction, no defense, no counterattack, just a slight acknowledgement, a nod, a half smile. And then you continue as if nothing happened because to you, nothing did. That person is confused now. Why didn't that land? Why didn't he react? Why doesn't he care? And in that confusion, you just won because they wanted to move you. They needed to move you, and you refused. That makes you untouchable. Emotional mastery, visualization. Imagine this. You receive a text that 6 months ago would have ruined your day. A rejection, a criticism, a dismissal. You read it. You feel the initial sting. But instead of spiraling, instead of crafting a defensive response, instead of letting it control your mood, you pause. You breathe. You recognize the emotion. You let it exist. But you don't become it. Then you respond. Calmly, briefly, or maybe you don't respond at all. Because you've decided this person doesn't get access to your inner world, and you move on with your day, unaffected, unmoved, sovereign. This is emotional mastery, not suppressing your feelings, but refusing to let them control you, not pretending you don't care, but genuinely not needing external validation to feel stable. This is the state Machiavelli described when he said, "The lion cannot protect himself from traps, and the fox cannot defend himself from wolves. One must therefore be a fox to recognize traps and a lion to frighten wolves." You must be strategic, you must be strong, but above all, you must be in control of yourself. Most men are hollow. Their confidence is borrowed. It comes from likes, from compliments, from external success, from the approval of others. And the moment that external validation disappears, they collapse. But the man who has built internal solidity, he is different. He doesn't need the world to tell him he's valuable. He doesn't need constant reassurance. He doesn't need to be seen to know he exists. His worth is internal. His frame is unshakable. His identity is not up for negotiation, and people feel that. They sense it, they test it, and when they realize they cannot shake him, they respect him, not out of fear, but out of recognition. This man cannot be moved. This is what you're building, not arrogance, not ego, but a foundation so solid that nothing external can crack it. Identity transformation. You are no longer the man who seeks approval. You are no longer the man who folds under pressure. You are no longer the man who apologizes for existing. You are becoming something else, something rare, something powerful. You are becoming sovereign. You walk differently now, not with arrogance, but with certainty. You speak differently now, not louder, but with weight. You exist differently now, not performing, but present. People notice. They don't know what changed, but they feel it. The friend who used to cancel on you now confirms plans twice. The coworker who interrupted you now waits for you to finish. The person who took you for granted now checks in first. You didn't demand this. You didn't ask for it. You required it with your presence. Because you stopped being someone who could be dismissed. You became someone who cannot be ignored. The death of the old self. Let me be clear. This transformation requires something from you. It requires you to let someone die. The old you. The people pleaser, the approval seeker, the man who moved every time someone pushed. That version of you has to die. Not metaphorically, actually. You have to stop doing the things he did. Stop laughing when it's not funny. Stop explaining yourself to people who don't matter. Stop chasing people who don't prioritize you. Stop tolerating disrespect in the name of being nice. And at first, it will feel wrong. It will feel cold. It will feel like you're being an asshole. But you're not. You're just no longer being a doormat. And to people who are used to walking over you, that feels like aggression. Let them feel that way. Let them be uncomfortable. Let them adjust. Or let them leave. Because the people who respect the new you, those are your people. The ones who can't handle it, they were never yours to begin with. Power climax. You are not here to be liked. You are here to be respected. You are not here to make everyone comfortable. You are here to hold your ground. You are not here to blend in. You are here to be undeniable. And the moment you stop apologizing for that, the moment you stop shrinking yourself, the moment you stop seeking permission to take up space, everything changes. You become the man who walks into a room and shifts the energy, not because you're loud, but because you're solid. You become the man people think twice before disrespecting, not because you're aggressive, but because you're unmoved. You become the man whose time, attention, and energy are valuable, not because you told people, but because you showed them. This is the Machiavellian shift. This is the power of perception. This is what happens when you become emotionally untouchable. And it starts with one decision, one moment, one boundary. Do it once. Hold your ground once. Don't react once. Don't explain yourself once. Then do it again and again and again until it's not a strategy anymore, until it's just who you are. The unmoved center, the unshakable presence, the sovereign man. Part 4, the command. Now let's talk about what happens next, because this isn't just information, this is a decision. You can close this video, go back to your life, keep doing what you've been doing, keep getting what you've been getting, or you can choose right now to become different, not tomorrow, not next week, not when you feel ready, now. Because here's the reality, the next time someone tests you, and they will, you have two options. Option one, you do what you've always done. You fold, you laugh it off, you let it slide, you remain invisible. Option two, you hold, you stay calm, you refuse to react, you let the silence do the work. You require respect with your presence. That's it, two paths. One keeps you where you are, the other changes everything. And the beautiful part, you don't need permission, you don't need to announce it, you don't need to prepare, you just need to do it. Next time you're interrupted, don't stop talking. Next time someone disrespects you, don't laugh. Next time someone demands your time without respecting it, don't comply. Hold, stay grounded, be unmoved, and watch what happens. Action challenge. I'm going to give you a challenge, not a suggestion, a challenge. In the next 48 hours, you will be tested. Someone will push a boundary, someone will try to move you, someone will expect you to fold. And when that happens, I want you to remember this video. I want you to pause. I want you to breathe, and I want you to hold your ground. Don't explain, don't apologize, don't perform, just be unmoved, and then come back here and tell me what happened. Tell me how they reacted. Tell me how it felt. Because I promise you, the first time you do this, the first time you refuse to be moved, you will feel something shift. Not just in how they treat you, but in how you see yourself. And that shift, that's the beginning of everything. Declaration phrase. If you understand what I just said, if you're ready to stop being invisible, if you're ready to become untouchable, then I want you to comment one phrase. I hold my ground. 5 words. But those 5 words represent a decision, a commitment, a transformation. I hold my ground, not because I'm aggressive, but because I'm sovereign. I hold my ground, not because I need to prove anything, but because I refuse to be moved. I hold my ground. When they test me, when they push, when they expect me to fold, I hold my ground. Comment it. Say it out loud. Write it down. Make it real. Because the moment you declare it, the moment you commit to it, you stop being the man you were, and you start becoming the man you're meant to be. Community building. Look around this comment section. You're not alone. Thousands of men are making the same decision. They're tired of being overlooked. They're tired of seeking approval. They're tired of being moved. And they're choosing differently. This is not a community of loud, aggressive men trying to dominate everyone. This is a brotherhood of unmoved men. Men who understand that power is quiet. That respect is earned through presence, not performance. That sovereignty is internal, not external. And when you comment, I hold my ground, you're joining that brotherhood. You're signaling to yourself and to us that you're ready. Ready to stop apologizing. Ready to stop shrinking. Ready to become untouchable. So do it. Comment it now. Make it real. The elite mindset. Here's what most people won't tell you. The world is divided into 2 groups. The 99% and the 1%. The 99% are moved by everything. By opinions. By moods. By validation. By rejection. By every tiny shift in their environment. They are leaves in the wind. They bend with every breeze. They break with every storm. But the 1%, they are the unmoved. They are the men who hold their ground, who control their reactions, who refuse to be shaken, who exist with internal certainty. And the gap between those 2 groups, it's not talent, it's not luck, it's not genetics, it's decision, it's discipline, it's the willingness to become sovereign. And that decision, it starts right now, with you, watching this video, making a choice. Are you going to stay in the 99%, or are you ready to join the 1%? If you're ready, prove it. Before you close this video, do 3 things. 1. Comment. I hold my ground. Make the declaration. Commit publicly. Let it be real. 2. Like this video. Not for me, for the algorithm. So this message reaches the men who need it, the men who are still bleeding power, the men who are ready to stop. 3. Subscribe to this channel because this is just the beginning. We go deeper. We go darker. We go into the psychology of power, presence, and dominance. This is not entertainment. This is transformation. And if you're serious about becoming untouchable, if you're serious about demanding respect without saying a word, if you're serious about becoming sovereign, then stay with me, because I'm going to show you exactly how to do it. Welcome to the 1%. Welcome to the unmoved. Welcome to the brotherhood of men who hold their ground. Now go and show the world who you really are.